travel restrictions have relaxed, we're all vaxxed, and finally those long-coveted trips are within our grasp. And trust us when we say we're more than ready to start booking flights again. We've seen an overall interest in flights surging significantly over the first 3 months of the year, and a lot of people booking their summer flights. The interest in travel right now is much closer to pre-pandemic than it is even to 2021. But now we have new hurdles to jump. Due to new contagious variants, there is a possibility that after all that waiting and planning and dreaming, our flights might be canceled due to, among other things, airline staff shortages. Here's what the airlines aren't telling you, and what action you can take to turn lemons into lemonade. General tips and advice for flying in our current state of travel. What to do if your flight gets delayed or canceled. If the airline cancels the original flight and you choose not to travel on your rebooked flight, you're entitled to a full cash refund under federal law. If there were multiple stops, you would get a refund for the legs you didn't fly. You're also entitled to a refund for significant changes or delays to your original schedule. What constitutes a significant delay is determined on a case-by-case basis, but a good rule of thumb is 2 hours or more. This only applies if the airline cancels the flight. If you choose to fly after a delay or be rebooked after cancellation, you won't get a refund, but you can ask for upgrades. Go ahead, shoot for the moon, or at least extra legroom. Say no to vouchers. You're entitled to cold hard cash. Vouchers can seem like a great deal, but don't fall for it. If your flight is canceled, delayed significantly, or overbooked, airlines are required to tell you that you can get a check on the spot. It's like your flight delay Miranda rights. But if you arrive between 1 and 2 hours past your original arrival time on a domestic flight, or between 1 and 4 hours for international, the airline must pay you at minimum 200% of the one-way fare to your destination, up to a maximum of $775. And for domestic flights arriving more than 2 hours after the originally scheduled time, you are entitled to 400% of your one-way fare. The U.S. Department of Transportation (DOT) requires they compensate you in cash up to $1,350. For more information, read up on your fly rights. If you do opt for the voucher or rebooking, negotiate. Say you're a frequent flyer and for you the voucher is equivalent to cash. In that case, make that voucher count. They may tell you that you'll get $250, but tell them no dice unless it's $600. And you don't have to get stuck on the first number and watch other people get more. If they need multiple volunteers to rebook in an oversold situation, Scott Keys suggests saying that you'll take as much as the highest bidder. You can cancel within 24 hours of booking for no charge. Now, there are caveats to this, so don't go booking an entire plate full of tickets for shits and giggles. With most airlines, you can change your ticket within 24 hours of booking up to 7 days before your scheduled departure and still get a full refund. The notable exception is American Airlines, which instead allows you to hold a ticket for up to 24 hours at the price you see. Some airlines like Southwest have even more generous refund policies that let you change plans up until right before you take off. Thanks to the pandemic, there are currently no fees for switching most flights. So you didn't make the 24-hour refund window. Never fear, that doesn't mean you're stuck with your flight. Due to the pandemic, most major airlines have implemented flexible flight change policies, benefiting both us and them, so switch away. If you're delayed, they can book you a seat on a competitor's flight. Back in the golden age of flying, there was this thing called Rule 240, which forced an airline that delayed you significantly or canceled your flight to rebook you at no extra cost, even on a competing airline. That ended with deregulation in 1978, but airlines will still do it if you ask nicely or if you have elite status. If your itinerary gets changed, they pay the difference. If you're massively delayed and the airline arranges alternate transportation with another carrier, they will cover all the expenses and extra fees the new airline might assess. So if there's only a first-class seat available, it's yours. And it won't cost you an extra penny. Pass the complimentary champagne, and in that case, you get to keep your original ticket for later. That unused ticket for the delayed or canceled flight, it's still good to use another time. Non-refundable tickets can become refundable. If a flight is canceled, severely delayed, generally over 2 hours, faces a schedule change in advance of takeoff, or faces a route change, like a non-stop flight changing to one with connections. You can get a full refund on a non-refundable fare. If the airline's actions significantly affect your schedule, it likely owes you money. Your additional fees are refundable too. Though common decency would dictate that the money you paid to check your bag, get some extra legroom, or board early would also be refunded in the case of you getting bumped or severely delayed. Airlines don't always offer it up. Make sure to mention the fees you paid when negotiating any compensation or refund. If you're nice and your agent isn't having a bad day, they'll sometimes give you that stuff gratis on your scheduled flight as a gesture of goodwill. Again, the keywords here are if you're nice. Be nice. In Europe, you're entitled to even more. Those zany Europeans always making pesky rules that inconvenience large corporations but benefit the public. These include what they require of airlines. So if you find yourself delayed on a Madrid to Stockholm flight, you're entitled to even more than you are back home. They owe you way more for delayed luggage than they'll offer to pay. If your bag is delayed or not lost, airlines will try to placate you with $25 or $50 each day. But the DOT says that's not enough to salvage a wedding, a ski trip, or an important business trip. These companies can owe you up to $3,500 in liability for a domestic US trip, so long as you've got receipts. If your bag is small, you can gate check it for free. Don't go lugging an oversized suitcase filled with a whole semester's worth of clothes through TSA. But if you've got a small or medium-sized bag you're willing to part with for a few hours, taking it to the gate and volunteering to gate check it can save you a bag fee. It also earns you goodwill with your flight crew, as you appear to be sacrificing something for the good of the plane, even though you're just being cheap. If the plane sits for 3 hours, you can hop off. During a lengthy tarmac delay in the US upon either arrival or departure, the DOT says an airline can't keep you on a plane for more than 3 hours on a domestic flight, or 4 hours on an international flight, without allowing you to get off if you wish. Even listening in on what your pilot is saying about air traffic control probably won't keep you entertained for that length of time. Also, the airline is obligated to get that food and water cart running down the aisle after 2 hours of delay. Buying multiple tickets at once can be more expensive. It might seem more efficient to book a big block of airline tickets for your big bachelorette blowout rather than suffer through a week of group text to make sure everyone is on the same flights. It might also mean you end up spending a lot more money. You can get premium seats for free if you wait. If you have status with an airline, or even if you don't, for exit row seats when you arrive at the gate. Those seats cost extra and are most frequently the only ones left empty. Even on so-called extremely full flights, they're often filled by traveling flight attendants and pilots, assigned at the last minute. If you ask nicely and are super polite, which frequent flyers will tell you is a big factor in getting free stuff, the gate agent has the power to give them to you. Asking at the check-in counter, however, is a much lower percentage shot. They're dealing with every person on every flight and won't have time to give you the attention a gate agent might. Thanks for watching the video with us. Let us know about your strange experiences and your secret tips in the comment section below, and we will come back with more.